For whatever reason, you guys like it when I look at subreddits that are kind of funny and silly, i.e., the anti-atheism subreddit. What a lot of fun posts and people we saw there, right, guys? Well, today I want to be looking at. Let me just adjust this little cam here. Morality scaling. It's a very weird subreddit in that I think it's not. They don't really know their identity yet. Let's take a gander here. All right, follow me on the small window. Some of the posts are like, "Is killing Hitler bad?" Like really kind of just like it's not really an interesting question. Some are kind of interesting. Some are just like so obvious to me. The fact that it's being asked is questionable. Like I feel like the OP should be put on a list. So together, let's join this journey. You'll find out a bit more about my moral understanding of the universe as someone who is completely anti-theistic but egalitarian at the same time. If you're a religious person, what's up? How can an atheist not want to murder babies? Well, let me show you how. All right, so let's just see what's going on today. There's a few ways to view the old subreddit as a Reddit master here. Let me just demonstrate. You have morality scaling. If you go to best, this is just so you know what's going on today, what's kind of popular in today. So let's take a gander. Morality of scaring your husband into stopping drinking. Well, if drinking is a problem, I would generally think stopping that is good. But let's take a gander here at the post. Once my grandfather came home drunk, my grandmother got angry, so when he was already asleep, she filled his whole butt with Vaseline. Okay, so he would think something had been done to him. Ha ha. Ha 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 ha. When he woke up, he didn't say anything. He just took a bath and spent several days reflecting, and now he doesn't drink. I think there's a bit of a discrepancy between the point of the post and the effect of the post. What I mean is the point of the poster, it sounds kind of like your grandma just got angry and filled their grandfather's butt with Vaseline, which is probably a bad thing. I will say my morality meter here, let's say filling somebody's butt with Vaseline is bad, okay? And it just so happened that for some reason, as we humans do, we silly humans do, we like to draw connections where there aren't any, okay? You hear someone say something about, blue Chevys. You hear your neighbor say something about blue Chevys, and then you happen to turn on the TV and see a commercial. Well, blue Chevys. Blue Chevys are the most popular car right now. No, you just heard three random, by happenstance points of data at the same time. In the same case, as a human, you think, oh wow, Vaseline in my butt, that is quite the waterworks awaiting me. Let's quit drinking. I guess it all worked out well in the end, but I would say I don't think this particular post is moral. And I also think it's a bit of a misrepresentation of that. Scaring your husband into stopping drinking is not necessarily what I gathered here. This was just kind of mean behavior. Scaring somebody into stopping drinking, frankly, and you might think I'm a bit boring, a bit sort of like late millennial Gen Z for saying this. I don't think fear will stop people from drinking. I think like education and understanding and consistency will stop people from drinking and change their mental habits. So just an overall no. And then I don't even know if it's like immoral. It's just kind of like uneducated to think scaring somebody into drinking will stop the food. Maybe they're scared and they cope and then they drink. So it could be an opposite effect. Let's see. Yeah. So this, the whole point of the subreddit is that I agree with this commenter. Like 90% of the posts are just this guy. Okay. It's like, what's going on with this subreddit? Now, I kind of like the chaos. I kind of like how shitty the subreddit is. Like, it gives it kind of like an interesting flavor. Like, mwah, like it doesn't know what it wants to do yet. If this subreddit, bounces to a bajillion views in the future, and it's just like another R picks or something like that, just some sort of lame place and whatever. But I kind of like that it is shitty. It is kind of like your dad's Facebook, but for 15-year-olds for whatever reason. Reprehensible. Okay. Yeah, putting Vaseline up the butt. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Immoral. Yes. It doesn't even say he was a bad drunk. Exactly. Yeah, this is the OP and the post here are saying something different. This person's the top 1% commenter. So now I am questioning the morality of this commenter. Okay, let's take a different path now entirely. Is this person the mod here? Let's take a gander here. No, they are not. Isn't that the YouTuber? It's kind of cool. There's a guy who does like evil antagonists. Okay, so yeah, maybe it's his subreddit and just kind of like fell a flay, a flay, a fall, a foul. Forget English sometimes. This person's a top 1% commenter, and they posted this terrible post. So that actually is very disappointing and disheartening. Um, oh, and they keep their posts hidden. Come on. Oh my God. The shittiness of the subreddit has just been, you know, brought to light. Okay, is good. There's the issue, dead internet theory. I'm sure you hear about that. AI bot accounts, just like for whatever reason, trying to farm engagement, farm clicks. People just kind of intentionally posting misconstrued things, intentionally posting things in a way that invite people, beckon people, perhaps to come and comment and correct. It seems to be that there may be a case of that nefarious activity going on here with the top 1% commenter posting a poorly interpreted meme. Or, maybe they're just still, in their development of their own sort of ethical framework of the world, and they don't have good judgment, or they just like to meme around and have fun here. Morality of, let me go back here. Okay, morality of Jiang Kui He. Let's see. So humans will no longer be controlled by Darwin's evolution, says Dr. Jiang Kui He. And then Chupa, some gamer guy, says type of shit the antagonist of a Pokemon game says before sending out a level 44 Crobat. Okay, so he's just referencing that it just sounds like, this sounds like sort of like a megalomaniac phrase to say, which is just kind of like a, haha kind of funny thing. Here's like, my I ruminate every day about the humanity's path in the future where we may never be taken over by the tyranny of this, that, and the other. It sounds like that, and then they're like, oh my god, he was like a space Nazi the whole time. Who'd have thunk it? It's just a common trope. I think he's just making fun of the specific quote. Let's see what the second image is here. Okay, so this is probably where the real juice is. Ethics is holding back scientific innovation and progress. Okay, yeah, I'm just gonna hard disagree with you here, Dr. Jian Kui He. Ethics is holding back scientific. What do you want to do? What is it you want to do that you think ethics is holding you back? This is probably what. And then just to go on a tangent here, because the main point of this channel is to talk about existentialism and anti-theism. The whole idea of religious people tend to parrot at atheists is because they think that every atheist here is like the old doctor. So yeah, I agree with the gamer guy now. He is probably just about to throw out a level 44 Crobat and talk about his machinations to end humanity. They all think that atheists are just codeless, moralless, ethicless, purposeless, goalless, spermless, just bags of crap flowing through the wind. And so they just do things on a whim. And they all say things like this: ethics is holding back scientific innovation and progress. No, there just happen to be guys like this here and there. It has nothing to do with a lack of religiosity. In the same vein that, Christians might purport that the message of Jesus is actually egalitarian in nature, also say things like DEI is a criminal activity. That is the same vein where you can have somebody who is a secular person. I don't even know if this person is a secular person per se. And then holds a maybe non-ethical view. It also could be the case that this is taken out of context. Oh, I didn't even read the note. He has served a 3-year prison sentence in China for carrying out unauthorized medical experiments on human babies. Okay. So there it is. Oh, and he posted that. Yeah, this guy, I don't like this guy. I think the morality. So this is like the kind of dumb part of the subreddit, because it's just like, here's a bad thing. Is it moral? No. Morality of Jinkui He, immoral. It's pretty cut and dry. He literally says it himself. Ethics is holding back scientific innovation and progress, i.e., I want to do science unethically. So there is, even whatever your feelings may say, right? I hate, not arguing with you. I'm arguing with facts, like feelings, bro. whatever your feelings may say, he is literally not ethical. He says it himself. But let's see what the brilliant comments of morality scaling have to say on this matter. You can only ethically, this is a good point. You can only ethically perform genetic engineering with the informed consent of the party in question. And then, yes, Ko-Fi says the simple part out loud. Babies don't have much to say about the consent. It's pretty cut and dry, right? And what are the extending ramifications that this person is saying additionally, after having served his 3-year term, specifically about a human baby's unauthorized medical experiment case? Scary. Just saying vaguely and generally, ethics is holding back scientific innovation and progress. I just realized something that's even more disturbing, and I didn't think you know what? I love this subreddit. I take it back. This subreddit is just such a twine ball of like, I don't know, like reality show level train wrecks upon just kind of like batshit insanity wrapped in a twine ball. I just thought, oh, there's an unethical doctor. They're not, unfortunately, it's not that they never happen. It happens, right? Okay, whatever. Why are you posting this quote of yourself in a picture of yourself? I agree. The gamer guy was right. He's a megalomaniac. Think about this. You're posting not even like a cute selfie, just like you in your lab attire. Not even a selfie. You ask somebody to take this picture, or you have like a tripod and you took the picture. And you post a picture of yourself looking like you just saw, like an Oppenheimer experiment. And then you just say ethics is holding back scientific innovation and progress. This guy's insane. Oh my, it gets worse and worse. And the more I look at it, this guy's insane. Oh my, it's like a Batman antagonist. Okay. I'm not really interested in seeing anything that draws anything more nuanced or complex out of this, to be honest. This is just like a narcissist. I think that's what this is. He's probably just a narcissist. Like, he's not even that cool or crazy or insightful. I mean, sure, he's good at biology enough to have, a doctor, to be a doctor in it, right? But it's possible if he served a 3-year prison sentence, I don't know, and I don't care enough to dig in, but is he still holding his credentials after this? Could it be this is a 3-year-old photo that he's posting now? Notice how his own profile picture is him in a suit. So rather than in his, lab attire. So who knows? It could be, kind of like the Dr. Jordan B. Peterson, who hasn't done like clinically approved psychology on anybody in a decade. So, much is in the need of further clarification. So, yeah, this is just like a megalomaniac narcissist. That is my prescription. That is my diagnosis. The real doctor is in. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's look at a couple more. Morality of killing the bunny for 1.5 billion. Stepping on him for 1.5. Is there any more context, or is this just like, hey, can we make an example where needlessly stepping on an animal is fun? Yeah, it's not always about the money, Spider. Exactly. What is the emotional tell 1602? What's going on? Is there any setting where something that is normally repugnant is made okay because money is involved? Maybe you pay somebody to do kink things to you, like step on you or something like that. But that's not because money is involved. That's because you're a consenting adult and you have like a kink thing. So I can't think of an example right now where taking away the life of somebody becomes okay because money is involved. It's not that it becomes morally justified. It just becomes financially motivated. And so that's why, there's financially motivated crime and things like that. So there is nothing moral about killing a bunny for 1.5 billion. It could have been a little bit more interesting too. They literally just reposted the see, here it is. It's just reposting more or less the same title. Why not? What if it was like morality of killing the bunny for $1.5 billion to be instantly donated to the World Heritage Foundation or something, or like the stopping hunger or something like that. Like make it a little more kind of like demented utilitarian like approach here, right? You know, like give me something, okay? Be a little more interesting with your deranged posting, okay? But no, it's more. So yeah, that's why this subreddit's like kind of crappy. Like this one this one was good in that you dig the more and more you dig, the more insane you realize Mr. John Kui here. John Kui is an absolutely batshit crazy. But then you see this, it's just like okay, yeah, the answer is not moral. I mean, all of these are just like the answer is it is not moral. The answer is it is not moral. Pretty much almost all the time. And you notice how you can just do that with basic logic, basic just reasoning skills, basic how you want to treat people in a functioning society. Third grader and below would understand level ethics skills. It is bad to do this. Money is involved. It is still bad to do this. Ethics is in science. Ethics without science. Is that ethical? The answer is no. Ethical is not there anymore. Therefore, it's not ethical. It's pretty odd. Let's see. Is this one that just says that Tai Lung wasn't right, but the crash out was reasonable though? The funny thing about I honestly do not know what this is referencing. If it's referencing Kung Fu Panda, then maybe I am aware, but I'm not sure who this person is. Unfortunately, I'm sorry. I am uncultured in this regard. But let me read anyway, and mansplain anyway, and see if I can bring any value to the conversation. The funny thing about Tai Lung is when he was told he wasn't fit to be the Messiah. Okay, so it's like a voice acting. He proceeded to prove exactly why he wasn't fit to be the Messiah by laying waste to the village he swore protect. Villains who are actually right. Okay. I don't know. Okay. Yeah. Was it reasonable? This is this is like where the picture and the post are two different things. The original post is just saying like it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You weren't fit to be the savior. And then he comes and destroys a city. Yes, you were not fit to be the savior. But the crash out was reason. That's not even like relevant. Come on, try harder. This is just what this is getting a lot of posts too. I don't even understand. Okay, maybe there's context I'm missing because this has 17,000 upvotes. Maybe there's like a okay, clearly I feel stupid now. Let me just Google search a bit more about this. No. It's the main antagonist of Kung Fu Panda. Okay, so I'm just out of the loop because I don't remember the 2008 Kung Fu Panda story. I'm sorry. Let me look at the Kung Fu Panda Wikia to find the answer. Okay, so wow, what a divergence. This is what oh my god, I forgot Wikia is just accessible now. Look at this. Look at this. Get me. I am an adult. Okay. Thank you. I have a browser that removes most of these advertisements. Okay, so adopted son of Shifu, as well as the powerful master, the leopard trained by so Kung Fu Panda spoilers, excuse me. This is way longer than Kung Fu Panda. What happened? 20 years later, Thailand's raged only. Oh, that's right. He was like in prison. Okay. Shikuman Bashir. Okay. Finally choose a Dragon Warrior. It would not be Tai Lung. The rookie Rhino Commando has stepped on his tail and sought to injury. Okay. I like how they there's all of like the lore and storylines. He was not set to be the Dragon Warrior, and then just the random like coincidental part because it's an animated movie part is also in it. He was not set to be warrior, and then this guy stepped on his tail, and then he went to Lake Conquest, and then he like did a somersault. It's just the hodgepodge of details is funny. I just find I don't know. Anyway, let's continue reading. Unaware molted feathers. Okay, so it's relevant. Excuse me. Swept in one feather, unrestrained prick, intricate lock, free himself. Okay, Okay, whatever. I don't care. I'm sorry. Let's just read the comments. What do people say? There's a foreign country where some people might say mistreated by certain people. We're going to start a war of colonization using that as an excuse to treat it. Yeah, he's trying to colonize everyone. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so he has his own personal grudge against. That's right. Yeah, he goes to like try and colonize his country. Is colonization justified? That's basically the question that Opie is asking. Neither of them are right. That's a good point. This is what's called, and this isn't even like a philosophical or like a religious thing. This is You should use this in your day-to-day life when you interact with other people, especially people who give you suspect things or things that make you feel a little bit weird, right? Maybe somebody's being a little bit manipulative or something like that. It's called a false dichotomy, and you should look out for that. It's not cool. It's basically saying that you have option A or option B, when in reality there are more than those two options, or perhaps those two options are misrepresenting what the reality of the scenario might be. In this case, was he right or wrong? Was the Messiah, was Tai Lung right and this guy wrong, or was this guy right and Tai Lung wrong? This is the brain blow moment. Neither of them were right, right? So it could be the case that actually you don't have to pick; they were both wrong. And I think a good analogy to get real here for a second is to say that it's not like Iran is a perfectly good country and America is a perfectly terrible country, or vice versa. Maybe it's the case that yes, while Iran is totalitarian, Islamist, Muslim, country that does oppress people's voices, that does oppress the rights of women, America should not have made war with Iran. America and Israel shouldn't have colluded to, bomb an elementary school with dozens of, children in it. Meaningless suffering is not necessary. Meaningless war is not necessary, right? You can have both of those things be true. Iran is run by a dictatorial, theocratic government, but putting war to Iran and suffering in Iran is completely unjustified, terrible, right? Those things can both be true. And I hate that I got into this serious conversation from Kung Fu Panda 2008, but you know what? Maybe skadoosh. Maybe I should take it a bit more seriously. But yeah, essentially, good point for understanding the context better than I did in the comments here. Yeah. Again, this just goes to like the kind of shitty quality of the subreddit, but it's like almost cute how shitty it is. Basically saying villains who are actually right, and then the post is actually just people who are wrong the whole time, both of them. So yeah, it's how the cookie crumbles. So we are basically at 4 for 4 immoral. It's just like bad things, but like sometimes they're kind of a little more creative than just straight up bad. It's almost like bad with some sauce to it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not just bad; it's like bad in a weird way. So let me make a post on morality scaling. 15-year-old Indian teen. Okay, this is probably gonna make me upset. Let's read it. 15-year-old Indian teen sentenced to 100 years in prison. Already upset with that for deadly gang-related shooting that left one woman dead. Oh, okay. And 2 others injured. Yeah. So if you think sentencing somebody in prison for life is necessary for killing someone, then yeah, I understand that. But for deadly gang-related shooting that left, this is something that I'd need to see. Okay, again, I think the context and the picture is something I need to know a bit more about. And don't just, I'm not just gonna like play devil's advocate to play devil's advocate. It says the wording too of this is questionable to me. Like for deadly gang-related shooting, could it be by chance that this is like vicariously putting this person? Maybe they were in the gang. Maybe they were. It was a murder. I forget the term now, but there's like you can get charged for basically a synonymous amount of murder even if you didn't literally kill somebody. Like for example, if you and a gang of 2 other guys, right, go to rob a house, and like you have the crowbar, you pry open the door. Bob is the one just grabbing the stuff, and then Tim is standing guard, like he has a pistol or something like that. And you guys are all running out, but Tim sees at the last moment that some guys come out, and they're like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" It's like, "Oh crap!" Tim's there, and he freaks out. He shoots them. He kills them. It's murder. It's obviously terrible murder. But the thing is, the people who committed the robbery, even though they weren't the ones to actually end somebody's life, the other two people, right, the people who crowbarred the door open and the people took the money, in certain circumstances, could also be charged with murder, right? And so, obviously, people going to rob people's houses is terrible. They should be, put in prison, and tried in as fair a way as possible. But it's different than actually being the person who kills somebody, right? It could be the case that, yeah, they were intending to go to rob somebody's house, but not to kill somebody. And literally, those two people actually didn't kill anybody. It was the third guy who made like the misjudgment. And it's not to justify their robbery. It's just to say that robbing isn't the same as killing somebody. And that's the example I gave now is actually a much more, how should I say, like sane or it's like straightforward. Oh, that almost kind of makes sense. Like, yeah, they're all in it together, so I guess they all get the blame. Even though, really, I don't think it's moral judging them all for the same one. There are even more extenuating and like thinly drawn circumstances, i.e., you go, huh? When you hear how, I can't think of an example now, but there exists, okay, where it's like one guy does something that leads to somebody's death, and some guy who, like, the previous day, maybe he was just a lockpick guy, right? So let's go back to the house analogy. Okay, here's a good way of explaining it. So you're Tim. Let's just make it to two people, keep it simple. Tim is you. You open the lock and you drive the car, okay? And then Bob is the one who goes and takes money and accidentally or purposely, whatever, kills somebody, right? And let's say Tim goes, he cracks open the lock, and then maybe he even chicken's eyes, like, you know what, I'm not going to do this anymore. Cracks open the lock, Bob goes in, kills somebody, takes money, and leaves. Tim could still be tried for murder in the same way that Bob was. That's basically what this law exists. I'm forgetting the name now. I can't. Law for trying someone with murder, even though they did not commit it because they colluded. Let me find it. What is it? Oh, yes. Felony murder. Felony murder. Looks like here. Okay. Anyways, a person can be charged and convicted of first-degree murder. First-degree murder. A conviction that carries a minimum sentence of 20 years and a maximum sentence of entire life. Right? Person can be charged of first-degree murder, even if they did not actually kill the victim or even if they didn't intend to commit the murder. So just like I said, they just have to have an individual intended to kill or great bodily harm, knew that they're actually going to create a strong probability of death, or were attempting or committing another felony crime. This is why there's the term felony murder, because in some states, this third clause here gets them, right? And so under this rule, people can be and often are convicted of first-degree murder in scenarios where a death is unintentional or is even caused by another person, all in the commission of a different type of crime. This type of crime is defined as a forcible felony, right? So yeah, here's some other examples. Let's see. Jack and Jill agree to rob a grocery store, right? Obviously, okay, if you just rob a grocery store, then you should be tried with like armed robbery or whatever the case is. Jack waits in the passenger seat of the gateway car while Jill, who is a driver, goes into the store and robs it at gunpoint. While fleeing the scene, the car Jill is driving T-bones another vehicle at an intersection and the other driver is killed. Jack and Jill both will be charged with first-degree murder, even though the death of the other driver was unintentional. The car Jill is driving T-bones another vehicle at an intersection and the driver is killed. So they'll both be charged with first-degree murder, even though it was unintentional, and even though Jack wasn't the one driving. Or here's another one. Jack and Jill agree to rob a grocery store. Jack waits in the gateway car while Jill goes into the store and robs it at gunpoint. Okay? While fleeing the scene of the robbery, a police officer shoots at the fleeing vehicle and kills Jill. Jack will be charged with first-degree murder, even though the death of Jill was caused by a police officer. Right? So I do not know the full circumstances of the original question here, but the fact that felony murder exists, um, and the way this is worded is for deadly gang-related shooting, leads me to think that it's not just he straight up killed somebody. This leads me to think that he did something adjacent, a different felony. So this is something I have to read into more and more. Oh, okay, I have other stupid threads. Let's see what the people say here. Prosecutors allege that Larry and others were attempting to kill a witness to another murder. During the shooting, 26-year-old De La Soto was struck and killed, even though the prosecutor said she was not the intended target. Larry was later charged and convicted. Oh my god, exactly what I said. Felony murder. Something he didn't do, but he did an adjacent felony, so he is charged for murder. No, this is deeply upsetting. This is actually deeply upsetting, and this is not moral. And it doesn't even have to do with him being tried as an adult. This is like a completely adjacent point. Felony murder is like absurd. It's like something you think of the ancient days, like, you know, where we did duels or where, you know, like rule, like everybody is charged in a legalistic way for the, you know, like a group punishment, right? It's completely barbaric. So it literally is felony murder. Okay, yeah, and yeah, the haircut is bad, sure. That's a good point. And it doesn't even say that Larry. The thing that bothers me about this, it doesn't even say like clearly that Larry shot and killed the other person, right? So I'm not I'm not the lawyer on this case. I haven't looked into this case at all in depth. But just my suspect of how the title is written, and then reading a bit more in the details here, I knew there's something fishy about it. And so it just leads me to think this is immoral right away, that you're treating somebody with a murder charge for someone who, in all likelihood, did not commit murder. And it has less to do with their age. I mean, obviously there's the circumstances too, and this is just like in the whole, like, how far back do you go when it comes to like accountability, right? Like, yeah, obviously he's a child, he's impressionable, he grew up in this culture, so there's a lot of extenuating circumstances to understand that should be weighed in a trial. Do I think, you know, he should completely go off scot-free? No, of course not. But do I think if he didn't actually intend to shoot and kill a person, should he, and maybe he didn't even shoot the gun. It didn't even say, let's just read this specifically, okay? Larry was involved in, okay, what does involved in mean, right? Could he just been sitting in the car? Just like the previous example said. In Indiana, prosecutors alleged that Larry and others were attempting to kill a witness to another murder. Okay, so there was another murder. It doesn't say Larry committed that. And it says Larry was attempting to kill them. Well, specifically, was Larry like gunning at the person and shooting at them? Were they like tying them down, trying to like strangle them? Or it just says we're attempting to kill. And then during the shooting, okay, who was shooting? Who was shooting who? 26-year-old De La Swain was struck and killed. Obviously, that's terrible. And yeah, that I can see, you know, murder for that being part of it. But it doesn't say who is shooting who, right? Even the prosecutor said she was not the intended target. Yeah, and then you just get the felony murder charge in there as well. Let me see if there's like an actual article about this instead of just somebody's word for it on it. Let's see. I can't believe we have gone from Vaseline to Kung Fu Panda to felony murder. Nope, not finding it that way. Indiana Larry gang incident. Okay. So let's see the ABC News article here. Okay, so this is posted at the end of July, so very recent. I guess the conviction has just been done. Sentenced. Let's see. if it doesn't say anywhere in this article that he specifically shot, excuse me, if it doesn't say anywhere in this article that he specifically shot at this person and it led to their death, right? Then I am deeply concerned for what the actual like ongoings or what was happening here. So let's just read through here. 15-year-old Amboy was sentenced to 100 years in prison after being convicted in a related shooting that left one woman dead, another wounded, and a third injured when she was hit by a car fleeing the gunfire, prosecutor said. Okay, so where is Larry's relation to this? The boy was sentenced on Wednesday in Circuit Court of Madison County. Okay, Larry was one of 4 members of the gang charged with murder and killing 26-year-old Dayla Swain, who prosecutors said was shot in February 2025 outside of a nightclub in Anderson, a suburb of Indianapolis. Okay, Swain was okay, but where did Larry do it? Right? Swain was shot during a botched hit on a witness to another homicide. Prosecutor said. So yeah, just like the Reddit thread posted, Larry and his co-defendant, Samuels went on to trial together, were convicted by a jury on June 30, according to the Madison County District. Okay, during a court hearing on Thursday, Hop sentenced Samuels to 125 years in prison. Prosecutor said. Following their conversation, Samuels and Larry admitted to an enhancement charge of being part of a criminal organization. Okay, so this is just something like prosecution does to make more and more, get more and more out of it. And so now you're tied to a criminal organization, obviously, that's going to make your sentencing even worse. Handed a 50-year prison sentence on Larry for the murder of Swain, and it gave the teenager another 50 years for the gang enhancement charge. So just because of the affiliation there, instead of the majority of your life, it is your entire life. And then I still do not see where he intentionally shot and killed somebody. I do not see that. Samuel was sentenced to 60 years, okay? And 62 and a half years. Okay, so the crime organization, gangs are bad. Sure. But is it like doubling of your sentence bad? Is it because you're in a gang it's worth 50 more years? Does that actually do something to stop the activities of criminal gangs? Or would it not just, make it so that if you happen to be involved in a court case, you just have to like expunge any relation to, like, I don't know. This is something I question here. Larry and Samuels were also convicted. Opportunity to speak at a judicial review without sentence consenting, prosecuting attorney at least 20 years of a sentence, according to prosecutors. Saying that tied to a botch hit on a witness. So this is it. I guess because they're all in cahoots, it's like vague as to who did what. Maybe it's the point here, but it just is concerning to me. It's concerning to me that nowhere once in this article is there a specific charge as to what Larry did once. They said there was a shooting. They said there was, like a hit and run. They said there was injuries. They said there was gang-related violence and adjacent murder. But where is the specific action that Larry did? Right? Where is the specific action that another person did in the gang? It's not clear. It's not clear. And so the swooping felony murder charge could in fact be just shooting fish in a barrel, so to speak. So this is definitely and then charging kids as adults. I feel like it really depends on the context of if it's like it just pains my heart that I even have this as like an example to go to as it's something that happened. But if you're like a 9-year-old and your dad has like a gun that he forgot to lock and you were playing with it and you shot your sister or something like that, that's obviously terrible, but obviously you're going to be tried differently than if you are a fully developed adult who did the same thing. That is completely understandable, and you should be tried differently. But if you're like 17, 16, 15, and you do something completely morally repugnant with all of the understanding, like, yeah, I think it's fair to be tried as an adult. Sure, I don't think that's morally wrong. But the connection between what actually happened here, did Larry actually do anything specifically that murdered somebody? Like, did he actually shoot somebody? Right? Um, and then like the relationship to the gang, does that justify the length of the sentence and all of that? There's like more to consider here. So I don't know. Although the title is poorly written here, I do it just makes me uncomfortable. I'm actually kind of want to continue following this case because just the lack of concrete evidence for a specific crime committed by this person, yet he is getting 100-year sentence, to me is deeply unsettling. Um, and it goes without saying, like, he's a he's a black kid, right? Or even if you think he's a black adult, whatever the case is, it goes without saying that obviously the system goes unfairly against people of color, against black people, and so even though it sounds almost like Larry didn't actually kill anybody, maybe he was involved in gang activities, maybe even gang violence, but it could be the chance that he didn't even kill anybody, yet he's being charged with felony murder, is deeply unsettling and sad. Okay, but let's not end on that sad one. Let's just go to one more. Let's go. And when you get like the full understanding of a subreddit, you go to top of all time. That's the strategy. Let's see if the top of all time is good or not. The morality of breaking into a building. There we go. And private property to rescue a dog that was going to be euthanized. I would say it would depend. Like maybe it's euthanized for like a proper reason. But if you look into the specific case, it's completely morally justified. A woman broke into an animal shelter to save her dog after her ex secretly surrendered him to be euthanized. Like, they should euthanize the ex-boyfriend. Like, this is repugnant behavior, right? I mean, I guess we don't know of the specific, what this dog specifically did. It just looks like a normal dog, though, right? It sounds like an absolutely pitiful, spiteful ex-boyfriend who sent the dog to get euthanized. And then I remember seeing somewhere in the comments here, it was like, she tried to just like go during the day and get it sorted out, but it was already closed, so she had to break in, because she just feared for her dog's life. Like, yeah, there we go, preventing. But again, this is one where it's like, oh, morality scaling subreddit, like, come on here, like, is saving a dog's life that wasn't supposed to be taken for no particular reason justified? Like, I would say yes. And I guess this is the thing. Maybe if you don't think about like morality or ethics too much, it does seem a bit complicated, but it doesn't seem gray to me at all, because there was a time in Nazi Germany where it was lawful to report Jewish people to your local, Nazi officer and have them be sent to a camp. That was the law at the time. Obviously, it wasn't moral. You can see a clear instance where it's not lawful to be moral, and it's not moral to be lawful in a certain case. In some cases, the law isn't what is moral, and that's what you have to do as a human on a case-by-case basis, judge each time. And so I think when you are able to start to develop that more and more, you can, just kind of like swipe through morality scale and be like, good, bad, bad, good, bad, obvious, repugnant, whatever the case is. But if you don't think about it more than that, I guess, you can see where the kind of ambiguity or difficulty is in understanding that. So anyway, ethics, morality, really critical for how we interact in a society. Subscribe, because I talk about these topics, philosophical topics, and all sorts of ideas on Forever Sophist here all the time. Thanks for watching. Leave a like.